Welcome to American Memories in Their Own Words, a program dedicated to Broomfield's veterans of World War II, Korea, Vietnam, and the Gulf Wars. Brought to you by the Broomfield Veterans Memorial Museum. On June 6, 2003, the 59th anniversary of D-Day, Broomfield veterans dedicated the Broomfield Veterans Memorial Museum to preserve the legacy of the men and women who served our country. This program showcases Broomfield veterans who will share their experiences in their own words. Here is your host, John Atkinson.
Hello and welcome. Normally here on American Memories, we focus on the military aspect of war. This show will be very different. Today we profile one extraordinary man, a witness to some of the greatest inhumanity mankind has ever seen. He not only survived, but vividly recalls how millions of people lost their lives under Nazi rule. This program contains shocking stories and images that are not suitable for everyone. Today, this remarkable man lives among us in Broomfield. This is the story of Martin Small.
My name is Martin Small. I'm a Holocaust survivor. I was born in a small town called Molchaj. The Molchaj is in the Belarus today. Used to be Poland before 1939. I am the only survivor of 86 people from my home family. My father was a rabbi, my grandfather was a rabbi, and I had in the family around 6-7 rabbis. But I also come from 10 generations of rabbis. I graduated Polish, Russian, and Hebrew schools in my hometown. But I also went for almost 14 years in schools in other towns, in bigger towns, which was called yeshiva. In my hometown, we were half Jews and half Catholics, around 2,500 people together. We had stores, Jewish stores and non-Jewish stores. We lived for the last 300-400 years in peace. In 1941, when the first motorcycles came in, the German motorcycles came into our hometown, the world fell down for us. Immediately the Germans, to tell the Polish and the Ukrainian and the Belarus people, if they don't obey their orders, they will be dead. So they took out many Jewish young boys and girls and shot them right in the middle of the town. It says, they are nothing. Jews, you can kill a Jew like a fly. We heard stories that they made the farmers, non-Jewish farmers, bury the Jews and then kill the farmers and leave them outside. And they came back and they said, the Jews killed the farmers. They walked in the streets and they walked in a house. They took out a 10, 15, 12-year-old kid, and they took the mother and father, they raped them in the streets, and they killed the mother and father in front of them. It's hard to describe what was going on. I don't believe it. Sunday they came out from the mass, and they started throwing rocks on our houses, breaking windows. The priest was one of the finest people the world has ever seen. He should just rest in peace. We found out later that he told him, don't throw rocks on the Jews. These are our friends. Without any hesitation, we watched, these eyes have seen this. They took the priest, they went into the church, they brought his wife and 2 children. I don't remember, 2 sons or 2 daughters, I don't remember. And they shoot them in front of the church. That's what they call barbarism. Their own priest is behind any imagination. Then they brought some rabbis. I saw them. I saw them piling up Torahs, Jewish books in the middle of town, make rabbis dancing naked, make men raping other women. They raped the rabbi's wife. They did things unbelievable. And they still took out people out of town, killing them. My best friend, he was to me like a brother. So he came into my house with a gun, a long gun, and a shotgun. And he said, Martin, you're not going to fight me now. Because I would fight him even with a gun. I was not afraid. I was a very strong man, a farmer. He says, if you touch me, I will kill your father and mother and your sisters right in front of you. He was jealous because I played soccer better than him. I was in school better than him. I liked a girl, a Polish girl, and he liked the same girl. She didn't like him. He was jealous. Later on, under the gun, he married her. He took me to the police station. He undressed me, tied me up on a bench, a wooden bench, upside down, put an iron in the oven. We have ovens with coal, wood, and took out the oven 2 minutes later, 5 minutes later. I felt the heat. He brought it to my face. He said, now I'm going to burn you alive. But I will burn you very slowly. I like to hear you scream. I said goodbye to my mother, my father, my sisters, my family. I said goodbye to God. But I prayed to God. I said, oh God, help me. Take me as fast as you can. I think God heard my cry. Another policeman came in who was worse than him. He used to take babies with knives, cut them in pieces in front of the parents. He put back the iron in the oven. He ran out and he untied me and says, go home. I don't remember how I get home. I know one thing I found out myself later, hours later, in my mother's arm, a big boy crying. A young lady from school, her name was Tamara. She took her life in her hands every single night to go around maybe 5 or 6 or 7 kilometers around town. Nobody should see her. Come to our house and bring us food. Her brother became chief of police. And he was married to one of my uncles, my cousin's daughter. You see, Baloja, you can be a chief of police because you have a Jewish wife. He gathered many Jews from houses in the middle of the town, brought his wife and his 2 children, and shot them one by one. I watched them falling down. We lived with them for many, many years in very peaceful things. Anti-Semitism was under the carpet. But when the Germans came in, the whole population, Poles, White Russians, they came out with flowers to them. They came out kissing them. We were locked in the homes. We were looking through the narrow things in the windows. They were kissing. They said, thank God you came. Now we can kill the Jews and take everything what they got. And why they did this? It's anti-Semitism. I don't know. It's an old, painful story. But they're teaching anti-Semitism even today. We never knew what concentration camps are. We did not know things. We had Jewish people coming from Poland running away from the German border. They told us, but we did not believe it. A few months later, the same policeman who tried to burn me came to my house and he said, "We are going to take you to a different town. They need workers." I knew he was going to take us outside and kill us. They tie us up by the necks to the wagons and our hands bound in the back. And they said, "We're going to take you to a town called Baranovice." Let me tell you what a ghetto is. They picked the slum place from the town. Inside, there was enough room maybe for 10, 15,000 people. We were around 60, 70, 80, or 100,000 people. The conditions were very bad. They gave us food once in a while. Every day, like one piece of bread, small piece of bread, and some soup. Soup from potato peels, nothing, just junk. So I was hungry, and I was with a friend. His name was Bachrach. The big German's name was Dr. Wichmann, W-I-C-H-M-A-N, Wichmann. They were looking for painters. So my friend picked up his arm. He said, "Martin, pick up your arm." On the way there, we had to walk, I would say, about 10, 15 minutes from the ghetto. Every 5 minutes, this Polish man, he hit me in the head. I didn't see anymore. So when I came the first day, what I did, my friend went to look for the paint over there. I picked up the German's boots. He got high boots, and I polished. The German came out, Dr. Wichmann, very polite. "Oh, wunderbar, very nice. Thank you very much." He went in and he got me a piece of bread and cheese. Oh, you don't know, my eyes went like this. And I held in my hands, and the German left back in the house. The Polish man came over, took it away, put it on the floor, mashed it up with his foot. He says, "You try to bend down, I shoot you." Twice he said to the Polish man, "Keep him here tonight to sleep, because tomorrow they're going to kill Jews in the ghetto." Because this doctor in the brown uniform, not an SS, Sturm Division something, not SS, SD, I think. He was the one to sign in the office how many days and how many Jews to kill. So we slept over there. He says, "Their time will come later, don't worry." He had a little house behind his house, the doctor. So he came one day and he says, "You see the little house? Your foot should never go close to this house." I wanted to see what's going on in the little house. I went to the little house. What I saw will stay with me for the rest of my life. I saw to the window. I went only to one window. I didn't go to the rest. It's enough for me. I saw a little boy sitting on a chair, higher chair. He was already it didn't look human already. Completely, he couldn't even move. And in the back, a mechanical hammer was going on the head, hitting on the head, like this. They were testing how long can they accept pain without food and water. I watched a German and Paul take a baby of a few weeks or few months old, holding under the arms and lowering down with the legs first in boiling oil. I still hear the screams, and then throw the baby in the oil. You got to be barbarian. The same man, I want to ask you a question. The same man gets up in the morning, says hello to his wife, kisses hello, eats breakfast, and says to the children, I'll see you later, be good in school, listen to your mama, and goes to the concentration camp and kills people. Then comes home back, how was your day, darling? He kills children, and he kisses his children. There's no word for this barbarism, no word. That's why I like to talk to the world. This should never happen again. And you still got today people say this never happened. A Polish man came over, my father's friend. He says, if my brothers know what I'm doing to you now, they'll kill me. He came over, I said, Martin, you have no more family. They killed him yesterday. And my brother took your father and your sister. I don't know what he's going to do with them. He's not going to save them. I found out later that he cut my father in 1,000 pieces. And my older sister was raped many times. I said, I don't want to stay here no more. I got nobody. Let's run away. The doctor had in his house a maid. As we walk into the bedroom, there were 2 night tables. They were open, 2 guns, loaded guns lying there with ammunition. I said to him, she still has to go. Then she says, Geh Gesundheit, God should bless you. Hurry. We walked out. And I knew how to go. We passed by German police, German soldiers. It's like God closed their eyes. He didn't see us. It got dark, we started walking. We walked about 10, 20 kilometers. We came to, I said, I'm going to go to my hometown. Then, because I knew a cousin of mine is hiding by a Catholic friend, they opened up the door. Martin! They called me Motek. Motek, you are alive? I heard they kill you in Baranovich. I said, no, I'm alive. He says, come in. We are hiding, I think 16 or 17 people, most of them your cousins, in the kitchen under the floor. They digged a hole. They made I was the happiest man in the world. And they told me how my mother died, my father died, my sister died, how the people died, how they buried them all alive. About a couple of days later, we see 2 policemen coming. They walked in, I recognized the voices. This is the guy who tied me up on the bench, and another friend. They walked over to the lady, they said, we heard that you are hiding or helping Jews. She said, no, why should I do it? And they asked her 2, 3, 4 times. Then they took the rifle and broke her leg right over here. Broke. I don't think she screamed. They came back again, the same thing. We heard that you are saving Jews or something. He broke her same leg in another place. She screamed like hell. I told my friends, 2 of my cousins were military men. And 2, there were a few military men, they had ammunition there too, rifles, guns. I said, let's get him and kill him when he came the second time. This lady was a very religious lady. She says, no killing in my house. The next day I said to myself, I went over to this Mr. Gladke, I said, I'm sorry, I can't stay here no more. I don't want to put your life in danger. We were walking day and night. The moon, which show us how to walk, how to go. But she gave us that many times, dogs, you know. We ate in the daytime only the corn and the wheat in the fields. Water, my God, we drink our own water, you know. One day, we were so tired, we lay down to sleep, and they called us, some police. We were close to a labor camp. I didn't know this. I knew the labor camp. My friends were there. I can't describe you Kodlecheva. This is a labor camp They have factories for ammunition. They made ammunition for the Germans. They made watches for the Germans. They made from the fur coats. They made boots and warm coats for the Germans on the Russian front. The Jews were digging a tunnel to a forest about 30, 40 feet away. I was one of the first to go out, and as I went out, I got a bullet right here. This is a German Dum bullet. I have, even today, I have only 30% or 20% from this arm. But a doctor cut him over here without anesthesia, without nothing. I think they gave me some vodka. I was told that most of the people got shot. Not many survived, because I have never seen anyone from there. We went to a farm somewhere. We didn't hear no dogs on the farm, so we went over there. And it looks like we sat down somewhere, we fell asleep. In the morning, usually we were hiding. In the morning, a woman is standing next to us. She says, don't worry, don't worry, don't worry. She knew we are Jews. She said, but I have very bad neighbors. Why? For many reasons. First of all, they would kill Jews. And second of all, she was a lady alone. They want to take away our farm. So we worked on a farm, not outside too much, inside most of the time, doing certain things. We were there a couple of weeks. We came back to our strengths. One day, she says, hide, the neighbor is coming. The neighbor came from there, and he said to her, who are the people working for you here? They watch. She said, oh, this is one of my family from somewhere, you know. But she told him something. But they didn't believe it. They were watching more and more. So at 2 days later, at night, almost on all four, we went away. They shouldn't see it, and we disappeared. We went back in the woods. I don't know what they did to her. I have no idea. We were walking and walking. We did not know where we were. The only thing I knew is when the sun comes up and the sun goes down. We were hiding. A few days after we left this lady, farmers from around saw us walking, and they started shooting. So my friend ran away one way, I went the other way. I have never seen my friend again. I'm sure they killed him. I hear a train, so I think I'm going to go to the train. Maybe I'll find a piece of bread over there in the garbage. So we are going to the sound where the train is. I was so tired that I did not see and I did not hear a German standing right on me almost. And he says, why did you run away from the train? Go back to the train. Yeah, before they pushed me in, they cleaned up the train for many dead babies, dead women, old men. They just throw them on the sidewalk and they pushed me in back there. I remember like now a Hungarian man, very well dressed. They didn't know where they're going. They gave me a piece of bread. And I sat down. I almost passed out. And we were going and going and going for 2-3 days by train until we came to a concentration camp called Mauthausen in Austria. In Austria, Mauthausen. I didn't know what a concentration camp is. But when I came in, they opened up the doors. I saw all the Germans. I saw all the many skeletons already. So they threw out a little baby. They just threw it like garbage. The woman recognized her baby. So she ran to the baby. A German standing next to me killed the mother. Mauthausen was built in 1938. They had numbers. But in the last few years, they did not give numbers not to know the world how many they killed. They had on paper, but not over here. You know Simon Wiesenthal, if you heard about Simon Wiesenthal, he was the biggest Nazi hunter. He was at many camps. I have met many people in the camps. This camp was only to die in starvation. They want us to live, but suffer. In many camps, like Auschwitz, Dachau, if they had to punish inmates, which was also a camp, a deadly camp, they sent them to Mauthausen. Mauthausen had the deadly steps, if you know what it is, the quarry. 186 steps. We as skeletons had to carry, just for fun, for nothing else, heavy loads of 50, 40 loads of granite, stones, rock, up the deadly steps. And then if he don't like you, he push you down, you died right in the quarry. Used to go 2 times a day. The steps were full with blood, but I also worked body gas chambers. I watched one time, there was a little girl left, they couldn't close the door. The little girl, they took the baby and they just threw it on top of everybody and locked the door. And you hear the screams like crazy. They open up later, they're all dead. I had to put my own friends sometimes from my barrack to the ovens. Sometimes the legs still moving. I tried to go into the ovens myself many times because dead was a blessing. But something got hold of me, I don't know why. I could not go in. They used to put us up roll calls at night, morning, night, snow, anything. In the towns, we stayed skeletons standing in the cold, hot, everything, freezing to death. The Germans came out with dogs. And they said, you, step out. And they put the dogs on these skeletons. We were jealous on the dogs because they got something in their mouth. So they took us for a walk, a few miles, to a sub camp called Guzin. Guzin had a firing squad. I want to tell you something about the Jehovah's Witness. The German, the top man over there. You go stand over there, face here, nothing on the eyes, just look at me. And tell me, would you like to go? Would you like to help the German Reich, the Führer, Hitler, to kill Jews and others? He says, no. Machine guns. Right away. Fell down in blood. The next one. No. He fell on top of him. Let me tell you, 25 or 30 people, not one said yes. And they were dying on the blood of their brothers. Would I do something like this? I don't know. In the barracks, they used to call me the rabbi because we prayed to God. I remember the prayers by heart in Hebrew. You know, a man who's drowning will grab a straw. He knows it's not going to help him. I or somebody else used to tell him a story. Do you remember the holiday of Hanukkah? How your mother used to make pancakes, latkes, things like this? We forgot our hunger. Just by talking. I don't know why we prayed. We prayed to God because this was our life. We believed in God. And thank God, God didn't make me forget. You put in the mezuzah a certain prayer, which is called Shema Yisrael, Hear, O Israel, God is one, God is all. For many years after the Holocaust, I never said this prayer. You know why? It's very interesting. Because when my mother died, she was buried alive. She was covered with the last scream, last, what do you call it, last breath, screaming Shema Israel, you know. Most of the Jews died. This is a prayer they die with this. I asked God, I said, God, help me say this prayer. One time at night, everything happens in my dreams. I wake up and I see it. I see my mother screaming this, as she says, Shema Israel. But she was already up till here. She didn't breathe no more. She was already in God's hands. And she says, she didn't say Shema Israel. She says, Martin, I am in God's hands. I see God. Don't forget, God is one and just your God. Why he did this, there's no answer, no question. I was so weak. I was 70 pounds. They heard that the Americans are coming. And the Germans start killing out and killing out and killing out more as many as possible. I could not walk. I could not talk. I could not hear. I could not almost not see. So they left me to die among the dead. I don't remember liberation at all. I know one thing. I found myself in a hospital, in a correction, what do you call this, in a hospital. They were teaching me how to walk, how to talk, mama, mama, how to hear, I don't know. But most important, how to see. I asked the question, why did I survive? I don't know. Why me? Why the other people over there who survived? They lost. We were talking to each other. We healed each other's wounds by talking to each other. Each one tells his story. You know, it's hard to describe. There's no answer for these things. If you remember, I told you the story that the woman broken the legs twice. I asked God, and this is, so help me God, through the whole Holocaust. I said, God, would I do what this woman did? And it bothered me. I was standing there one day, and 3 women approached, came over to me. I don't know from where. They had dirt on their faces, with covered their heads. And the woman came over to me and says, excuse me, are you from the concentration camp? She took out a pouch from her pocket. You know the pouch with the string? It's a big pouch. She said, I want to give this to you. I said, I don't need this. You can give this to me. I don't know what it is. I don't want nothing. A piece of bread is better than anything in the world. She says, this is worth millions. Gold, silver, diamonds. My husband gave me. He was the head, one of the heads of Mauthausen concentration camp. The Americans killed him. And now they're looking for us. I said to her, I know, I'm sorry, I can't tell you this. She says, I want you to do me a favor. Me, my mother, and my daughter. She was the wife, the mother, and the daughter from this man. I want you to take my daughter, save my daughter. We will go back home, they'll kill us anyway. Please take my daughter. When she told me this, believe you me, I didn't see her. I didn't see her daughter. And I didn't see her mother. I saw my mother and my 2 sisters. I said, do you have any liquor in the house? She looks at me like I'm crazy. She said, what for you want liquor? I said, go ahead and bring some liquor. I'll wait for you. I went to the Russian officer. I spoke fluently Russian. I said to him, "Where's your train going?" He looks at me like crazy. He said, "I'm not going to tell you. Who are you?" I said to him, "You see these ladies? This is my mother. This is my grandmother. And this is my sister. They just came out from the concentration camp. Take them away, wherever you go." He says, "Come, follow me." And he took them away. I don't know where he put them. I don't know. In 5-10 minutes, the train left. And I'm standing there, and I said to myself, what did I do here? I saved the biggest killer in the world, his family. These are the guys who killed my family. But then all of a sudden I said, oh God, thank you, I could do it too. A few weeks later, the train over there, and I hear music. So I go over there to the train, and a young guy comes out and talks to me. I told him I was from the concentration camp. He says, "You want to go to Italy?" I said, "Sure, come in, don't let nobody see you." And there were American soldiers, Russian soldiers. The Russian soldiers were looking for the POWs. Their POWs will run away. He says, "Go under the bed." Then I find out that they have a DP camp, displaced person camp in Rome, called Cinecittà. That's where they make all the movies, like Hollywood. There were many, many Holocaust survivors from all over. In our camp in Italy, in Cinecittà, there was a family, a Polish family, and he said he was in a concentration camp. Yeah, he was in a concentration camp, but he was a Nazi. He spoke Jewish very well. He was raised in Ukraine or where, among Jews. He spoke Jewish very well. So he wanted to hide among the Jews. So they got him and the police took him away. There was a little coffee shop. I think it was opened by Italian Jews or something like this. And on the walls were all papers written down. I'm looking for my uncle, he's born in Poland, one is born in Germany. So I always went to look for something. Yeah, you never know. Maybe I'll find somebody. One day, I'm standing over there. Somebody takes me around, and I hear a woman's voice in German. "You remember me?" Very beautiful. I said, "No, I don't know you. I don't remember you." She said, "Do you remember in Salzburg? I was me and my mother." I said, "Oh my God, don't tell me." She says, "I'm coming here more than a year, every single day, just to look for you. You saved our lives. A Jew whom my husband killed Jews, and you saved us." I was in her house twice. She brought some vodka. We had vodka, ham, all kind of food. After the second time, I said, "God, thank you very much. That's enough. I don't want no more." I said goodbye to them. I never saw him again. I told my friend, he knew I'm Jewish. I said, in Israel, we need some ammunition. This was 1947, 48. My friend says to me, "Martin, I want you to come this day. They're going to pick up some ammunition." The police came from the police, and the money came from American Jewish people, millions of dollars. They came 3 truckloads with ammunition. They exchanged the ammunition. They gave them the money 2-3 times. We took the money to boats in Antio. The last time I went to Cyprus, who was there? Ben-Gurion, before it became the state of Israel. He was there. And I met him. I knew Menachem Begin later very well. And then I said, when everything was done, I said, we used to call Ben-Gurion the old man. "Okay, old man," Zakein in Hebrew. "Bye." He said, "Where are you going?" I said, "No, I'm going back to Italy." No, you come with me to Israel. I said, you'll fight over there. I wind up in 1948, the liberation of Israel, in the war of liberation. I was there for a couple of months, fighting in Kibbutz Negba and Yad Mordechai. Me and a couple of guys, we took the first 3 tanks from the Egyptian army. And in Italy, I met an American soldier, Mr. Rosen. And I forget. He said, where are you? He says, I am from the Bronx, New York. I said, yeah, I have an aunt in New York. My mother's great-grandparents, they were here in New York. So she used to send letters. I wrote the address. I remember by heart. I said to him, she lives there. He said, I live a few blocks away from there. We were approaching, and it was foggy. And all of a sudden, the Statue of Liberty. I can't describe you what was the word America. The word America is like people going to the Garden of Eden. So we came down, I fell on the floor in front of my aunt and another cousin over there I never saw before. They couldn't pick me up, I kissed the ground, crying. Not me, all of us. I love this country more than anybody in the world. One day my cousin said to me, Martin, I got a date for you, a blind date with a girl in the NYU, New York, in the university. So anyway, I told my aunt, I'm not going to the date. I don't want to meet a blind girl. I didn't know what a blind date is. I went out to my friend's house, and there were 3 girls there. So I took at the table and we played cards. I knew how to play, but I didn't like to play. But I said, okay. He says, I will play with her, my wife, and you play with her sister. I was in the house maybe, 10 minutes. I said to him, no. You play with her sister. I'm going to play with her because she'll be my partner for the rest of my life. 56 years, thank God. And I'm here in Colorado. I lived in New York, and my daughter called me up. She said, Daddy, you have a lot of friends in New York. You speak in colleges, universities. You're famous. You're very well known. But you're getting older, you got to be with your family. You need a family, and the family needs you. So she bought a house. She found the house. I paid for the house. And I live in Colorado. I am the happiest man in the world. From my home in Washington, I moved to 58th Street between 6th and 7th Avenue. The best, finest place in New York City. Right Central Park South. I lived there, and I had 2 dogs, 2 Doberman Pinschers. When I used to come in Central Park with my Doberman, they were very well trained, behaved. When I used to come at night, the cops used to say, oh, don't worry, everything is all right, Martin is here. No problem. They were all my friends, but one of them, Jim Curry, got tied to me like a brother. He knew that I'm a Holocaust survivor, but we never spoke. When I came to Colorado, he said, I'm calling you all evening, you're not home, but I want to talk to you. He said, Martin, you sound very tired. I said, yeah, I just came, I was speaking over there, I'm very tired. I speak in university. He said, what did you speak over there? I said, well, I told him my life story of the Holocaust, how I got in the camp, and how I got liberated in Mauthausen. When I mentioned the word Mauthausen to this man, I felt he's getting a heart attack. And I'm screaming, Jim, Jim. All of a sudden he comes back, maybe a half a minute. I mean, no, half a minute, you wait a long time. He said, Martin, you were in Mauthausen? And repeat once, twice, 3 times. I said, yeah. How did you survive? I said, I don't know. I don't know myself. I was left, I worked over there, I was there. I was a skeleton, and then American soldier picked me up. He said, Martin, I was in Mauthausen too. I said, what? You're not Jewish? He says, no, I was with Patton's army. I was a liberator. I am still sick. We are all still sick. We walked all over. And then we went to see the barracks, how the people lived over there. And let me tell you a story, he says. I walked in barrack 9. This was my barrack. And the smell of the dead was terrible. So we didn't go through the whole thing. We just turned around and going back out. As I walk back out, I hear a murmur, something, a move. I turn around and I see a skeleton among these dead people there. His eyes half open. He tells me this, exactly the words. The mouth open like he wants to talk to him, but he can't talk. I saw he's alive. So I went in, I picked him up, 70-pound skeleton. I took him outside, I gave him to the ambulance. When I was by the train, if you remember the story, waiting to go away from Austria, one of the people who survived, he says, I know you. I said, how can you know me? I'm a skeleton. We had no names, we had no faces. He says, we used to call you the rabbi. I said, yeah, now I know you know me. He says, we left you to die. I was sitting outside and waiting for an ambulance. And a young American soldier picked you up and took you to the ambulance. Later on in New York, I was speaking in a synagogue in New York. And after I finished speaking, I was going down the aisle, and a man coming towards me and crying, an older man my age. I know you very well. You are a rabbi. And I was sitting outside, and the American soldier carried you out. We left you to die. And this is my friend, Jim Curry, a friend of 35 years. I never knew he was my Messiah. What these eyes have seen and heard that I went through, I touch myself sometimes, is it true or is it just a dream? I have nightmares every night. There are Nazis today all over the world. And the German government today are sending checks to them for fighting for their country. Poles who worked for them, Ukrainians, Germans, who worked for the Nazis, and they live in Poland and Argentina, they're getting checks every month. People don't know this. Now, can you imagine Polish people killed my family, and Polish people saved me. There's a balance. I don't blame everybody. I blame only those whose hands are sucked in Jewish blood, nobody else. So my life is a combination of many different things, and it's unbelievable, unbelievable.
After retiring from careers as a factory owner and real estate property manager in New York City, Martin Small looked for a way to keep busy. With no formal training or previous experience, he soon discovered that creating works of art provided a necessary outlet for painful memories. Through drawings, paintings, wood and metal sculptures, Martin uses art to remember and honor those who perished and gives us a unique glimpse of the suffering that they endured.
I can explain. I like art. I like all kind of art. So I start doing anything. Anything I like to put my hands on, I'll do it. Anything I'll see. But it's always something very important. Each piece has a special meaning to me. I start drawing then the Holocaust in my mind, and I made all from the Holocaust, mostly from the Holocaust. I start making the art, and I made hundreds of them. My house was full 4 or 5 years later. I had a show in Long Island in my synagogue, a big show. As a matter of fact, this picture is part of the show. This art piece, Remember Us, is something very deep in my heart. When we arrived in Mauthausen on the train, and they took us off, they opened up the doors, we came out like cattle. We were hungry, thirsty, we didn't know what we were alive even. A little child, maybe 3 or 4 years old, lost her mother. The mother went, who knows, already maybe in the oven. There were thousands, tens of thousands of us. And she was running around, "Mommy, mommy, mommy," crying. The German was very annoyed. And he says, "You want to see your mommy?" She didn't understand German, she was Hungarian. Mommy is an international word. So she came over to him, "Mommy, mommy." He said to her in German, "You see the chimney? Your mommy will come at any minute." And took the gun and killed the kid. And walked over, pushed her like this, take her away, like garbage. This picture, I can hear the child still crying. Many years later, I made this memory. You see what do you see there? A concentration camps, 6 million with crying faces. And the walls, remember us. I made this art piece, I never spoke about it till 25 or 30 years after liberation. It was in my heart because it was too painful to talk about. One among them, my art pieces about the Holocaust, which it took me a long time to make. I made it with blood and tears because you couldn't do this. It took me 3 years to make. And this is the picture which is in Holocaust Museum in Jerusalem in Yad Vashem. It's called Christ from the Fires. It's a collage on the Holocaust. It's all in wood, carved wood, stained. But I did this with my own hand, with my wounded hand. This hand has not enough power. This little girl is confused because her mother is on the train to the gas chambers. You see an old man, also confused, overlooking what's going on here. People dead, some of them still moving their legs, people holding each other, eyes, legs, a little girl walking among the dead, a little girl sitting among the dead, walking around here, screams of Shema Israel, God will listen. The Jewish star, a man was caught by the German out from and a menorah, crying faces in the menorah, a woman finding somebody in the street and finding out it's her friend. And here, children going to the gas chambers. In Jerusalem, in this Holocaust Museum, they have a committee, great professors of art, which accept the art pieces. That time they didn't accept from nowhere. And when it came to a Holocaust survivor, a professor, he started crying. He said, "This piece belongs here." I always have a pencil and a paper with me. So I was drawing, making a sketch, and I put it away and I forgot about it. 23 years later, I found it between my papers, And I said, I'm going to make an art piece, a beautiful art piece in oil. And I have seen my mother, my father, my sisters, my friends walking naked, led by the town police, our neighbors, to the graves. You can see the little town, people standing, clapping, Jews, you will die, and the police walking the people to the graves, and screams from the graves, oh God, where are you? These memories is priceless to me. I live with these memories. I don't want to forget. Somebody from a museum, I don't remember from New York or somebody came here, and he asked me about his piece, and I told him I'm going to make this an art piece. He said to me, don't touch. This is priceless. You did this directly from your heart. Don't touch. Don't paint it. This is the menorah of miracle. To me, it's precious. It's made out of wood and gold leaf. Took me a long time, but I did it. And I like it very much. I usually make menorahs for the Holocaust. For example, I made this one here, which represent 6 million Jews represent. Never again, Shema Israel, and remember. The small little town in Tennessee, children from school, they never knew what a Jew is. They never seen a Jew. They never seen a German. They didn't know what the Holocaust is. But they heard that they killed 6 million Jews. They didn't know how much is 6 million Jews. So they came to an idea to collect paper clips to see how much is 6 million. I lost 86 people of my family. So I picked the tree of life, this tree of life, and hang up 86 paper clips in memory of my family. I will get in touch very soon with the people from this little town in Tennessee, and I will donate this to their museum. I don't want to forget because they are with me always. They will be with me always. And I want to be with them. I want to see their faces. This is my biggest therapy on the Holocaust. People don't realize what means doing something while you're in trouble, in pain. But this is the best therapy for me. I hope the world will learn a lesson. The future generations, the future leaders, the young people, the leaders whom I speak, I hope they will learn the lesson from the past in matter to build a better future, not only for us, but for all mankind. It's but time to learn.
Martin Small's story is a reminder that events that happened decades ago halfway around the world remain connected to us even today, and why these events should never, ever be forgotten. Thank you for watching. I'm John Atkinson.
The Broomfield Veterans Memorial Museum is located at number 12 Garden Center in Broomfield. You'll find artifacts, uniforms, and other memorabilia from the Revolutionary War to the present. Our curator, Barry Hildebrandt, constantly updates the exhibits. Our hours are Tuesdays from 7 to 9 p.m. and Saturdays from 1 to 4 p.m. We hope you'll visit us soon. Thank you for watching American Memories in their own words.